While Andrew takes a 3-minute break, folks, I'm going to sit here and talk to you. This is Dave once again from the Wolves Den studio. And this is a very special edition of Buffalo Talk tonight. Andrew and I spent some time talking earlier today. And the information he's bringing out tonight is, to me, more important than anything I had to say. But I appreciate Andrew and his willingness to do whatever it takes for Wolf Spirit Radio, just like I do for Mike and his crew over at Revolution Radio. And especially old W.H., who is one whale of a website builder. He did my website in 3 days. And then in my, shall we say, haste the other night, I inadvertently deleted the whole thing, and within 45 minutes he had it all back up. And it works, and it's good looking. But I encourage you folks to do your own research on any subject you hear any host and guest talk about on Wolf Spirit Radio. Take what resonates with you, if anything, but do your own research. Open up your heart when you do it. Don't use your brain, use your heart. And I don't even have any short songs to play tonight, because I'm busy working on uploads. Because I'm uploading I have a total of almost 1,500 shows to upload to the archives. And I'm doing the best I can with what I have, and at times I'm not up to it. And we're going to be joined by Michael McCracken as soon as he answers the phone. Yeah, I haven't got things organized like Mike does over at Rev Radio, where he has everything automated. Me, I got to do everything manually because I'm not smart enough yet. And I own up to it, folks. And it doesn't bother. Played Northern Cree. Oh, I will at the top of the hour, Thomas, just for you. I'll play you. Because time 58 to time 03 is when we take our break. For Rev Radio, that's when they take their breaks. And, you know, folks, we have a lot of fun over here. Because if you can't have fun with what you're doing, why do it? Right, Andrew?
Oh, that's absolutely. I have fun every show I do. You know, this show, the last 35 minutes, I've been going off, nerding off on a rant. And in one way it is a rant, but it is meant to motivate people out there and so them to understand what is going on here. I mean, it's time for us as a community to wake up and say, you cannot chemtrail us. You cannot give us these fake vaccines. I mean, they're giving us this flu scare now. And you know what? People are reporting getting sick as soon as they get the flu shot. All of them. I mean, 80% of these people are self-created flu. I mean, why? Hey, Michael McCracken, how you doing today?
Hey, Andrew, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's good to have you here. Good to join in. It seems Miss Eva Moore got time.
Before we get started, I'd like to say something about the headband I got from Dale. It works, but it works differently for me than it does for anyone else, I think, because what it does is it acts as a shield for me. It enables me to think clearly about whatever I'm working on. And Michael McCracken has joined us. And Dale, I want to thank you for the headband because I know it works. And on that note, go ahead, guys.
Hey, Mike, how you doing today?
Doing pretty well there, Andrew. Pretty well.
Doing pretty well.
Out here in the
plains. I heard you're going to be moving back to civilization.
As soon as I can.
As soon as you can. You need that. You need that Burger King in mountains, huh?
No. No, that's not what I need.
I thought it was McDonald's fries.
No, don't even like them. No.
It's people.
That's what I need.
People.
Yep. You brought up some pretty good facts there, Andrew. I was listening to you here. But more importantly, we need to start learning how to get to not so much the spiritual courts of equity, but we need to get to the courts of inherent equity on our planet. And they are there.
Oh yeah, they are there. They're hidden well, but they're there.
They're there. Every state has at least one. And until we start reclaiming and see, none of us have established our rights. And what I mean by that's right. Like I've explained to you before, Andrew, none of us have established our trust. Well, I'm not going to say none of us because there's groups of us that have. However, the average person hasn't. They haven't even been aware of the fact that everything on this earth is run through trust. And that's part of the big problem that we have. And, they look at the legal profession as an honorable profession. The same with religion, as it's honorable to be a priest. Well, it's not honorable, because here's what they do. They do their black magic spells over their writings to enslave us further and further. And the Catholic Church was the one who started this whole deal with their unum sanctum, their first expressed trust where they claimed the world. And what we, as humans across the whole planet, not just in the United States, I'm talking about this whole planet, we need to reestablish, well, first we need to establish the fact that everyone who is attempting to rule over us in one manner or another is doing so from a standpoint of fiction, just as you were saying earlier, Andrew. And the only way to undo this thing is the same way that it was done. So what we need to do is we need to express our trust, establish our trust. We need to qualify our signatures. None of these governments, none of these religions, none of these high muckety-mucks are in their positions for us to support them. They are there to support us. Now, I've been reading into this new trust thing with this, and listening to the interviews with this lady. And she said one thing in the beginning of her interview that she did on this one show that sparked my interest immediately, besides the fact that she's an attorney, and now what she's going to do is she's going to take it and put this trust into an at-law situation, which again, fiction, lie. She's also told us that she was raised in a Jesuit household. Huh. Now that really piqued my interest, because as we all, well, I'm not going to say we all, but as most of us are aware, the Jesuits are the ones that have enslaved the majority of the people on this planet.
They are the in charge of the banks. That's the unfortunate part of that.
So, now, is this lady telling us the truth? Or is she devising and setting up this trust so that now she can make a declaratory trust, and all those who get underneath of it and sign up and appoint them as the trustees, now they won't release the funds because, why? Because the creditor would step in and take away what was to be given to the beneficiary. So see, there's all these different angles that I'm looking at this thing from, and I'm like, it could be good, it could be bad. I don't know. Do I trust her? No, she's an attorney. Why would I trust an attorney? They've lied their whole lives. Their whole life is based on lies. So why would I believe any attorney? That would be like believing Barack Obama. Do I believe a word that comes out of his mouth? Not one. Do I believe a word that comes out of the mouth of anyone that works for the corporate United States government? Not one. Because they've all proven that they're in this for themselves and they're nothing but liars. We have children starving tonight all over this world. Do you see a senator, a congressman, or a president starving or in need for anything?
Nope.
Proving they have no honor and they're nothing but liars.
Capitalist
So
greed.
see, what's that?
Capitalist greed.
Exactly. Now,
Okay.
they have this little deal that they had over here in Connecticut. You know, if in fact
Right.
it is real and true, I don't know if it is or I don't know if it isn't. I didn't witness it. Although there have been many questions come to light from many different angles as to whether this is something that really truly happened, or is it just another way for them to grab our guns and we end up like the poor people over in England and Australia and Canada and every other place on this on this earth where they've disarmed the public and then go in and through mass murders reduce their population to people that will just be malleable little slaves.
We've seen it in history time and time and time and time again.
So now let's take a look at what we're currently dealing with. Now, if you take the time, now, and I don't want anybody to believe a single word I'm saying. I don't want you to believe one single thing that comes out of my mouth. I want you to all do your own due diligence and look things up for yourself so that you know that it's your own, you've done it yourself. You've seen it in black and white, like they say. You've seen the black ink on the white paper. But a good place for those of us in America to start reading would be the 1913 Federal Reserve Act. And just go to Section 16 of the Federal Reserve Act from 1913, and you're going to find what I found. You're going to find that Federal Reserve notes were created for interbank loans so that they can loan money from one bank to the next. And the only one authorized to have in their possession a Federal Reserve note is an agent of the Federal Reserve. Now, there's a lot of people out there tonight that have those in their pocket. Now, the next thing they did was they took away our way of paying our debts, our silver and gold. And they've made it now a crime in the United States to attempt to pay a debt with silver or gold. So what has this done? This created a situation where they've created an impossibility because you can never own anything, you can never pay anything off, and if you do use their Federal Reserve notes, now you're a criminal. And they've hidden the real truth from us that it's our signature that discharges these debts. And if you look through history, you can see what they've done with the, just look up things. Look up the 1913 Federal Reserve Act. Look up the Administrative Act of 1946 and the bankruptcy of 1933. Look up the state of emergency. This is how they've set all these little fictions up. The Lieber Code. We're still being dealt with the Lieber Code from the Civil War. How did they steal the country? They stole it from the Reconstruction Acts in 1867. I mean, these are things that it's taken time for this lie to come to where it's at. Now, you want to know one of the biggest lies? One of the biggest lies is that your public servants are actually public officials. Guess what? They're not. There's great courses out there to prove it. They're all nothing but private contractors. So, what do we have? We have a bunch of lying attorneys that are trying to disarm us so that they can do their last whack on us, and whoever's left standing aren't going to be worth having around you anyways, because they're going to be the malleable little slaves that are just going to roll over and let happen to them what happens to them, and kiss their captors' boots so that they can get a crust of bread. It's coming on fast and furious, folks. It's coming on fast and furious. They never sleep. They have it's not like us, where we work our 8 hours, rest our 8 hours, and play our 8 hours. That machine that they have rolling is rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, they try to trick you with these firearm laws and all these gun things. Well, for years I've been preaching to people, read the Dick Act of 1902. I've given people links, I've shown them where it's at, I've given them hard copies. Every single one of these gun laws that they've tried to put against us is wrong, is illegal. But yet we keep falling for the lie of the liberal and letting them get away with what they're getting away with. But when you break it down to even further than that, just our inherent rights from God, we have a right to protect ourselves. We have the right of self-determination. And now these rules by men are trying to tell us that we don't have these rights. We don't have the right to self-protection. We don't have the right to self-preservation. We don't have the right to self-determination, to become whatever it is that we dream to become. Barack Obama becoming president of the United States should prove to everybody that anybody can become the president of the United States. Because, once again, he's just another puppet for their big lie. Now, let's take a little bit further look. You got all these people that are in jail on these firearm charges. Well, I'm going to ask you to take the time to go to CFR, Title 23 of the CFR, and peruse through it and find out what a firearm is. You're going to find out that, as I did, that what they're trying to say are firearms aren't firearms. And how have they done all this to us? They did this because we trusted them. We thought, well, they can't do that to us. They wouldn't do that. Why would they do this? Why would they do that? I can't answer why, but I can answer they have. So we're coming down to a point in history where now all the people that are employed by our government have taken an oath to the United Nations under the state of emergency. And under the Trading with the Enemy Act, we're all the enemy. So see, we're coming to a point in time where the peoples of the world have to not only stand up against their own governments that are doing illegal things against them, but we're going to have to stand up against the United Nations, because the United Nations, as the majority of us know, is nothing but a great big lie, where they've consolidated all of the power of the rich and famous into another form of government where they can just walk right in and take us over, which is what's getting ready to happen here in America. They're getting ready to make their move on us and to disarm us, because look what the government's done through their backdoor deals and all the different things that their backdoor deals and their quiet legislations and everything like that. They've given away most of our national parks and things that we thought were owned by America, they've given it away to who? The United Nations. And then they started selling everything. How much land does the Queen of England own over here? How much land does Communist China own? How much have we been sold out by the people that are supposed to be protecting the Republic? Because, folks, we still do live in a constitutional republic. As much as they don't like to say we do, well, then how come every morning in every school across this nation, the little children stand up and they pledge allegiance for liberty and justice, one nation under God? I even forgot the dang thing. But I do know that the word republic's in there. What is it? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, that's the biggest bunch of lies I've ever heard, because guess what? Now they're acting like we live not in a republic, but in a democracy. And a democracy, if you take the time to look up the word and trace it back to its roots, that's to be ruled by priests. So, when I tell people that it's all a religion, and they look at me and think that I'm speaking crazy, just do a little bit of research and look up the words and follow them back to their origins, and you'll find that we have a very evil priest class ruling this world through the use of lies, innuendos, and every kind of torture that you can think of. And the only ones that are going to turn it around are us. And we don't have to do it in a violent way. I'm not calling for you to be violent here. I'm calling for you to take the time to increase your knowledge. Take the time so that you can start learning what it is you need to learn, so that you can speak from a standpoint of knowledge. Take the time to look up things like, is the bankruptcy of 1933 true? Take the time to look up what Congressman McFadden and Lindbergh said in their speeches about the discharge of our debts. See, one of the things that I see, and not so much where I live now, because I live pretty much in the middle of nowhere, but when I was living back in New York and I would go to courts and I would watch them, these judges get up on these benches. Now, it's against the judge's professional code of ethics for him to have any political ties. But you show me a sitting judge that isn't on the board of some bank or some other political deal. You show me one. I haven't been able to find one. I've searched, and I haven't been able to find one. They're all involved, and they're all violating their code of professional ethics. And in so doing, they're violating the codes, they're violating the canons, and they're violating their contract with us as Americans. So what do we have? Now we have official oppression under the Keller of law. Don't take my word for it. Do some research. Start learning. Turn that TV off. That TV's doing nothing but causing you to float into your little never land where you're never going to learn. Take some time to go through the CFRs. Take some time to go through the United States codes, the codes of your states. Take some time to read the Constitution of your state. And you're going to find in most states, well, all states, you're going to find where it's been changed over and over and over again to suit their needs. But remember, what comes first? What precedes rules. So we just have to take the time to start learning. And also take the time to wander into old bookstores and old barns all around the country and purchase every single old book that you can, because what's going to happen is they're going to it's going to come to a point where they're just going to go out and they're just going to be, remember Fahrenheit 451, where they burn all the books? That day's not too far from here in America, where they're going to burn the lies and hide this and hide that, and we're just going to be their little slaves. As it is now, they can come and they can grab you, throw you in jail, hold you for as long as they want. How? Under a lie. Under a lie that can only happen within the 10 square mile District of Columbia. But they've tricked us all into believing, through their federal overlays, that they have power outside of that. People, they only have the power that we allow them to have. Let's take a look at our driver's license, for example. I've been doing some research on this, and I can't find that the Department of Motor Vehicles has any rights to issue any driver's license to anybody. What I've been finding is that the only one that can truly issue a driver's license in this country is the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation. And yet we have these jabronis over here in the DMVs all across the land stealing our money and tricking us into believe that they have the right to do this. It's all based on lies, and they have no honor. It's really simple when you break it down and you look at it for what it is. You know, through the course of our lives, you know, we've been taught to put them up on pedestals and worship them and do what they say and believe them. But, you know, the older I get, I've just come to the conclusion that it's all a lie. Everywhere I look, liars in charge. And what are they really? They're bullies. They'll send out their little henchmen, and they'll come in with their guns. They'll come in with their guns. They'll put you in bondage and drag you away. And they can do this to any one of us at any time they want. So, you know, I've been talking to people about these things since the 70s. And the older you get, and the more you see it, and the more you look at it, and you get tired. You know? Now with the advent of the internet, people are starting to wake up. I remember when the Rio Conference first came out back in 1992 when I read it from Rio de Janeiro. And that's where Agenda21 was first laid out. And I was telling people about what I read. They thought I was lying to them. They can't do that. They won't do that. This, that, and something else. Guess what? The day's upon us. They're doing it, aren't they? So, you know, there's not much more to say to you folks except for get off your asses, crack some books, and let's take this thing back. Because America is still the shining light for the rest of the world. As messed up as it is, as crazy as it's gotten here, it's still the only country in the world where we have at least a little bit of freedom. We still have our guns. And our guns are going to be the only thing that are going to keep us from being put in shallow graves by a bunch of fanatic, and they are fanatic. I mean, listen to the things that come out of Feinstein and Pelosi's mouth, and Cuomo and all the rest of them, and Schumer. Listen to the things that are coming out of their mouth. Why do you think they want us to voluntarily give up our arms? Not for our protection, but for theirs. Damn right they're supposed to be afraid of us. The fear of us is the only thing that's going to keep them on the right path. And we've all been left.
It used to be pitchforks and torches. Now it's guns and the internet.
Well, the internet, Andrew, is helping wake up a lot of people, but still, that's all slow because people. The funny thing is how many people I've watched go back to sleep after they've woken up because they realize that everything around them is nothing but a big lie. And look at the Social Security Act from 1935, and look at the Alien Registration Act from 1940. It's all right there. It shows you how they've enslaved us. And what did they enslave us with? Paper.
The law.
We're going to die.
Words out of paper.
Thousands. So, I keep studying and I keep learning, and I listen to a lot of the young cats that are coming along today that, see, I've been around this thing long enough where I've seen things cycle several times, Like people come out with this straw man argument. This straw man argument is no new argument, folks. This straw man argument has been out there. First time I heard about it was in 1976. Was the first time I heard about this whole straw man thing. Now, it took about 20 years for it to come back around, but then it's came back around again in the late 80s, then it came around again in the 90s, come around in the early 2000s. So see, these have a way, these different thoughts have a way of recycling themselves. And instead of us getting together and forming so that we can learn together, so that we can stand up together, because see, their life it isn't going to be able to stand. It cannot stand the light of day. Just like I just told you, they've set up an impossibility. Okay, I can't pay with gold and silver, and it's against the law for me to pay with Federal Reserve notes. It's against the law for me to even have them in my possession. So, now, when you're standing in front of the judge and he tells you got to pay $100, $100. Well, what are you going to do? Well, when you look up HR 192, House Joint Resolution 192, it says a dollar is equal to 100 cents. Well, what's 100? What's a cent? A penny. What am I going to do? Bring $100 pennies in there? Or am I going to do what the real truth is? What McFadden and Lindbergh exposed back in the 30s and in the teens, back in the 1900s? Am I going to just sign my name across in big bold letters across the front of their bill and let them securitize my signature and do what the law prescribes, so that they can take that down to the federal window and have the accounts balanced? See, they're not. This system is already in place, folks. That's why I don't trust this lady coming out with this whole idea of this new trust thing, because the system is already there. We just have to learn how to get to it, and we just have to learn how to operate in it. It's never disclosed to us how to do it, so that we're not slaves anymore.